Hey everybody, Eric Nathy with MountModernLife.com. Today we want to talk internet. So I'm not sure about you guys, but for me and Katie, internet is absolutely vital. That's how we make our living. So we have to be online. And there's a couple different ways that we use. And one of the biggest things that we've learned since we've been on the road is that when it comes to internet, it's going to be a combination of multiple different options that keeps you online all the time. There's generally not going to be one thing that keeps you flowing all the time. One example of that is a lot of times we actually use our phone for our mobile hotspots, and then we also have our MiFi that we use. To be honest, we're more often using our phone as a mobile hotspot rather than the MiFi, just because it's always with you and it's easy just to turn it on. Another thing too that's very important to note here is that with most of the antennas that we've used, you are able to directly connect them to your computers. However, they generally do not work with Macs. So if you do have Macs, it's almost going to be an absolute necessary for you to get a repeater. So real quick, I'll go ahead and dive into kind of our story and what we've went through since we've been on the road. And well, actually, real quick before I do that, I do want to let you guys know that through all the research and everything we've done trying to figure out the best options moving forward, we've actually started kind of at the lower end, trying to keep it as affordable as possible. But just so you know, there are a ton of different options out there in all different price points, and this is the route we've taken, and we've had pretty good success so far. So by no way are we experts, but we hope if you're watching this video, this helps give you an idea of a way to move forward for yourself and your RV. So we got up to Wisconsin last year, and we parked out front, and we had our C-Crane USB 3 antenna that was given to us by a family member. I'll give you a better look at it. It's pretty straightforward. You plug it up and then you plug it into your computer. So once we got up there, we pulled this out and we were getting ready to get started with it, and that's when we realized that most antennas that use the USB plug don't work with Macs directly. So that's when we decided that we had to get our Alpha R36 repeater. Now this thing has been amazing. It basically works like a router. You plug your antenna up, then you use your USB, plug it into the repeater, and then it disperses a new network wherever your repeater is set up at. So while we were actually waiting for our repeater to come in the mail, we had our C-Crane, which we couldn't use because we only have Macs. So we went over to Walmart, and for 30 bucks we picked up a dual band extender. Now the extenders are designed to be used in a home to extend an existing internet connection. So you know, if you have a large house and your router's on the far north end, you can put the extender on the far south end and it'll extend it out into the lawn or the garage or wherever you need it. So for that reason, it's not, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. However, it did kind of work pretty well for us. So while we were up there, we were about 100 to 150 yards away from my aunt and uncle's house. And when we got the extender, we plugged it up in the RV, and we were able to pick up a signal and rebroadcast it through our entire RV. The problem is that we were really far on the edge of that initial signal that my aunt and uncle had in their house. So when our extender rebroadcasted, it rebroadcasted the weaker signal that it was getting because it was on the edge. Now, it did hold us over for 3 days, and it did get the job done. We were able to be on the internet. It just took a little while for things to load. Now, once our repeater came in the mail, that all changed. So we had our C-Crane antenna and our Alpha R36 repeater. We put the antenna up on the window. It has suction cups on the back, and then we plugged the USB into the back and then plug the power into the Alpha R36, and then from there it's really easy to set up when you get it. One thing I would like to note is that we actually found a lot of good information from Techno RV, and from what I understand, if you do purchase Alpha products or their wireless products through there, they do give very detailed information on how to set it up. With the repeater specifically, it's not very hard, so you know, definitely do your research on that. But anyway, we won't get into too much detail about that. So for about a month, our C-Crane antenna was hooked up to our R36 repeater, and it was working fantastic. And then one day, it just quit. So if you look at the front of our repeater here, when you use it, there's going to be 3 different lights that need to be on that'll signify you have an internet connection and you can connect. It's the power light, the WLAN light, and the USB light. Well, one day the USB light just quit showing up. So while my C-Crane antenna was connected and the lights on it were flashing that it was working and the USB was plugged in, for some reason it just wouldn't show up. So we didn't know what to do, and I looked in the settings and all of that as much as I could. I spent a long time doing it, and I just couldn't find out an answer. So that's when we ordered our Alpha Booster. Now, real quick before I get too far into that, if you guys are looking specifically for what products we have, I'll put some links in the description below. But then also, we're going to be writing a post over on the website that'll really dive into a lot more information on what we've used, how we've thought it's worked, and things like that. But anyway, let's get back to the booster. So we got the Alpha Booster, and when we got it, it actually came with the little holding case and the suction cup, so you could put it up on your window. That came in really handy. And then it also came, we bought the package that came with the 5 dBi antenna and the 7 dBi antenna. So when we got our booster, we plugged it up, and right away we just hooked it right up to our R36 because I wanted to make sure the USB light was coming on so that I knew this wasn't the concern. And it worked great. We used the 5 dB antenna, and then just for fun, because I'm kind of new to all this and figuring it out, I figured I would take off the 5 and try the 7. When I did so, I did notice a decent little change in the speed of our internet connection and the reliability of it. So while we were in Wisconsin, we ended up using the 7 dBi antenna, the booster, and the R36 repeater, and we had good internet flying us along the entire time we were up there. So flash forward to now we're in Florida. We're in Florida, and our internet source is about 150 yards away, and it's in a work trailer that's made out of mostly metal, and there's a lot of insulation inside there. So our booster and our antennas is actually having an extremely difficult time picking up the signal. There's also a lot of trees in the way as well. So we ordered a couple of outside antennas. One is more directional, and more is definitely omni-directional antenna. So we're working with those now, trying to figure out the best way to get those to work. So next week we'll come out with another video and post that kind of highlights how that works. But for these, when there's a lot of trees and distractions in the way, it has been fairly difficult to pick up a very strong internet connection, one that'll at least keep you going. You know, sometimes it would pick up enough signal to where we could load a page, but it may take 30 to 45 seconds, or maybe even a couple minutes, and it's just really hard to work and stay in your happy place when a web page takes 5 minutes to load. But other than that, that's kind of what we used in Wisconsin, and this system worked very good for being straight line of sight to the internet source, even at about 120 yards. Now, recently we've been focusing, like I said earlier, you always have to have multiple options on our hotspot and our phones. So we're, like I said, we're testing out the other antennas and trying to figure out the path there. But overall, we are very pleased with this setup as far as the Alpha repeater and the Alpha booster, and the C-Crane worked really well as well while it was working. But this one has been used for quite a few years, so that could be the issue there. So anyway, but so when you get on the road and you're looking for different options, these are definitely viable when you have a clear line of sight. But like I said in the beginning too, there are a million different options out there, and we're learning about them as we go along. So hopefully this video helps you out. But if you guys do have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to leave them below, or visit us at mountainmodernlife.com. And if you're looking for more detailed information, definitely swing over and check out the post we're going to be putting up soon. But other than that, thank you much for swinging by today, and we'll see you again soon.